Believe it or not, I actually was turned down a full-time offer by my summer internship due to my terrible English communication skills. I mean, how did that happen? After all, I did have already spent a few years in the States surrounded by native speakers, and I had no issue communicating to everyone around me.
Hello, this is Angie. Welcome back.
During the summer of 2015,
I had an internship at a small boutique consulting company. I remember now thinking back at that time, I was both excited and worried. Excited because that was my first real job, and worried because part of me felt a little bit unconfident with workplace English communication. You might wonder, how could that be? I mean, after all, at that time I've already spent more than 5 years in the States, had no issue communicating with my friends, and I was still able to secure an offer from that place. Well, it is mainly because workplace communication is so different from English communication, especially as an international student who are trying to work in North America. So how are they different? Well, workplace English is way more professional and requires a more extensive amount of vocabularies, and people you communicate with typically are also less tolerant as well. Well, since the young, naive me totally underestimated the difficulty of workplace communication, you can probably imagine how terrible I was at my job. I can still remember back then I was so terrified of any client communications or meetings. I literally would have 2 to 3 pages of notes of questions, and I try to stick to my script. And if the client digressed from the script, and oh my god, it would just feel like the end of the world. Yeah, I wouldn't actually even give myself an offer back then. Well, that summer, as you could imagine, after the rejection, that's probably one of the toughest time of my life. However, it was also a great wake-up call for me, making me realize that, hey, this is the biggest freaking area that I have to address if I want to get a work anywhere and if I want to excel my work anywhere. I think communication also is really important for any type of roles, even including, let's say, software engineers, not to mention other industries such as in consulting, law, or finance. So in today's video, I actually want to provide 3 tips that can help you dramatically improve your workplace communication. And it was also the same tip that I used back then to actually improve during the short period of time to secure an offer with McKinsey. Tip number 1, expand your vocabulary. As I have mentioned previously, workplace communication requires more extensive set of vocabularies than everyday communication. The vocabularies that you typically use is also way formal than your everyday communication. For example, instead of saying how much money a company makes, you would say instead, what is the revenue or the top line of this company? So here, I would actually recommend building out your vocabulary by doing extensive readings or watching business-related shows. So you can both actually learn the word, but also see in what context the word is being used. A few good resources, for example, Financial Times, economics, any sort of business books, and or TED shows. Tip 2. Practice, practice, practice. Yes, I know I say a lot about practice, but this is how you're going to take something that you learned from reading or watching into actually utilizing yourself. So what I would do in this situation would be that, for example, if you're in an English surrounding environment, try to find people who you're familiar with or comfortable with. For example, your friends or your school counselors. These are the people that can typically help you and provide very good advice. Tip number 3, leverage structure and use the pyramid principle in your communication. So especially in the workplace, it is super important to both quickly and clearly communicate complex ideas instead of jumping all over the place and make it extremely difficult to follow. And the key here is pyramid principle. So the essence of pyramid principle is that communication should always form a pyramid under a single idea. If you pay attention, you'll probably notice that in all of Angie's videos, I use pyramid principle quite extensively. Take today's video as an example. My lead thought is that workplace communication is extremely important and requires our attention to improve. Insight number 1 is why is it super important? And insight number 2 is what can we do to actually improve it? And then under insight number 2, I further broke down into 3 different branches. So give it a try if you haven't. Well, this is it for today. If you like my content, please don't forget to subscribe or like my videos. Until next time, bye!